Greetings. When we last left our heroes, they had accompanied Lady Laurel to a party hosted by Lord Voight. Martin and Wren mingled and wandered the manor in an attempt to find their way into the basement, hoping to unbar it and allow Rorik to gain access to the house. He would then use the lift in the basement to access the second floor and Lord Voight's office and search for evidence that Voight was behind young Zachary's kidnapping. However, just before Martin and Wren made their move, a mysterious agitated visitor and Edwin Torch, leader of the press gangers, spoke to Voight, and the three of them went upstairs for a secret, urgent conversation. Do Martin and Wren continue the mission, sending Rorik up into almost certain danger, or do they wave it off and give up this opportunity? Welcome to episode 29, Hushed Whispers. So I think that is the main question here. Martin and Wren have succeeded in reducing the alert number from our party minigame in episode 27, and they successfully infiltrated the basement. Now, just before, they did indeed, on turn 5 of our minigame, they did indeed see this unkempt, mysterious stranger come in. He grabbed Edwin Torch. Now, no one knows, none of the group knows that he's Edwin Torch, and certainly no one in town knows that Edwin Torch is actually leader of a gang of sort of vicious smugglers and traffickers. The two of those two characters went to see Voight. They talked in a hushed whisper for a second, and then all went upstairs. Martin and Wren still made their move and are now down in the basement deciding what to do, whether they have Rorik go in or not. Before we do that, I did miss one opportunity to hit Wren with one of her disabilities here. Remember that because she has the Blizzard rune, she is in a pact with an ice spirit, and that ice spirit wants to escape. And since she had access to a library, she needs to make a power check on difficulty 18 to avoid helping the spirit. Her goal is to gain elemental runes, which she has. She got Hand of Lightning in hopes to counteract the spirit's influence on her. First question is that or is that not a valid assumption that she made? We're going to run rune knowledge first. We'll make that a DL 14, let's say. She scores a 3 up here. So let's see what her rune knowledge is. Her rune lore is 13. So she actually succeeds on a 16, and that will indeed. I'm going to say that her assumption is correct. And we're going to give her another rune lore check. Here we go. So we're going to reduce the difficulty to 17 instead of 18. So she still has to make a 17 power save. She needs to score a 1. She does easily. So what we're going to do is we're going to assume she did not dally about in the library, and she would have had to spend an inspiration to get herself out of the library at that point in time to continue the mission. But she doesn't have to, so she has her 2 chips just like before. So now we join Martin and Wren in the basement. And I think Wren she's like, well, we have to continue the mission. And Martin's like, no way. First off, that one guy was gigantic. There was no way that he was like a noble or or some dignitary or something. I mean, that guy was a thug. And the guy that came in, again, looked like he'd been in a couple, he'd been in a half a dozen knife fights. I know those type when I see them. Those two were in cahoots, and they were thugs. All the more reason to get Rorik up there to hear what they have to say, don't you think? And so that's sort of the back and forth. Now, keep in mind, because I'm sorry, but Wren is, again, as part of her Blizzard rune, she is just cold-hearted. She is just And I don't think that means she's mean or evil. I think that just means that she is, you know, we spent this time here to do this. We've done it. It's now time for Rorik to do his part, and we are going to continue. I'm going to roll a d12. I think she wins this argument. I mean, her willpower is higher. I think she wins the argument. Let's say on a... Do we let... I mean, it's certainly more interesting. So don't get me wrong. It's certainly more interesting. And I do have a little bit of desire to see what happens. So I probably should just let it happen. But I will let, on a 1 or a 2, no, a 12, she does not waver at all. And Martin is like, I think, heck, at 1 and 12, Martin even sees the wisdom of it. He's like, okay, you know what? You're right. I'll unbar the door. Go make the signal. And so that's what they do. So late into the evening, Rorik is going to see the signal. Ren goes up to the front window. She sort of pulls the curtain back, not even pulls the curtain back because that would be sort of obvious, but probably sticks her hand through the gap in the curtains and then makes, I'm making the motion. You can't see me. My camera's off, but I'm making the motion. She is waving her arm toward that side of the door where the basement door is. And so Rorik, knowing that now's the time, makes his move and makes his way up to the basement door. Does Martin stay down there and wait to warn his friend? If he does, I'm going to make him roll maybe an alert check. That someone sees him, you know, spots him. He takes a little too much extra time because by now he should be up from there. The more time you stay down there, you know. I'm gonna so the nice thing is it's a 3 or above. We're gonna take that risk. So that's a risk for us. So if we take the risk, though, we're gonna get a small bonus, maybe on stealth or something. I'll give Rorik a stealth bonus when he's up there on his sneak checks. So I'm gonna take the risk on popping the alert. We do not. So Rorik opens the basement door. Martin's there. Rorik's like, get out of here. I've got this. Martin's like, look, listen. A couple guys just came in, took Voight, and went upstairs. They're probably in his office. You need to be super careful. Like, he warns him. Rorik pats him on the shoulder. All right, thanks for the heads up. And I think that's it. I think so Martin heads upstairs at that point, closes the basement door behind him, looks around. No one's seen him. And Rorik starts to use the lift that then chunks him upstairs to the second floor. And yeah, Rorik's going to make a sneak check up there. So he gets up to second floor. Second floor is... so did I think I had a chance and someone's up there anyway. Whoops, skill roll. Skill roll is not it. Yeah, so someone would have been up there anyway, but probably just a servant or something. I don't think anyone else is up there because Voight would have probably maybe told the servants to go help downstairs. So when Rorik gets up to the second floor, it is indeed dark and silent up there. There maybe is one lamp or an oil lamp or some such, but otherwise there's almost nothing. But he does see the light flickering from under the door of Voight's office, and so he will do a sneak check. I'm going to give him a +2 on this because of the warning that Martin gave him. His sneak is a 12. He does get a +2. That's 14, so he succeeds on a 12. So that's going to give everybody else a chance you know, with their perception. Now their searches are probably 8s or 9s or maybe 10s. You know, Torch might have a you know, being a lowly smuggler there, he might have a couple, right? He has got to avoid the police. Plus his search, he probably has conceal. So I'm gonna say Rorik is going to re-roll that, and he wants to get higher. So I'm gonna give up an inspiration chip. He does not get any higher, so he does not do better at all. So he succeeds. Okay, so his sneak is womp womp, not great, and he slinks up to the front there, to the door, and he's going to try to listen. I'm going to give, I will give just, you know, a 1 check for the enemy. And this is going to be against a DL of 12, which is sort of what is an opposed check, which is what Rorik would have given. Oh. So they're going to hear him or notice him. So give me 1 second. Does he get up there and listen and then they notice him? Or does a noise get made or something get jostled? I'm going to give it, you know, like a 50-50 or something, right? I'm going to give it just a chance there that, so 1 to 6 is no, 7 to 12 is yes, 12. So we do at least get up to the door and we can hear them talking, but then at some point, someone is going to notice, right? So I already said there was probably a lamp out here, a single lamp. And so that lamp is also casting a shadow. And maybe under the door, someone just sees that long cast shadow and takes note. Probably Edwin Torch. So the first thing is first. So he gets up there. And we did talk about this in the retro, right? I showed you this already. Like Voight and the Press Gangers. This is going to define their relationship a little bit or what they're scheming. And so we're going to roll a d20. And we're just going to do it right out here because you guys already know. So there's no secrets for you, right? You guys already know what's what. So we're going to roll it. Oh, we get a 2. I was hoping for a 15 because that would have been a big, big old thing. Okay. Backing out. That's sort of too bad. Oh, darn it. Should have lied. No. Okay. So the discussion is heated, right? And Rorik, as Rorik comes up, he can hear them. They're not talking loudly. They're talking in whispers, of course. But they are sort of those loud, angry whispers, right? And, you know, Voight is coming at them with, well, if you and your thugs had actually done the job correctly and not let him escape, then this wouldn't be an issue. We would have the money. You would have your share. I'd have the vineyard and everything. Right? He's laying it all out. He's like, you guys are idiots. And Torch is like, he's like, look, sir, let's see, what's he, you're, let's see, does Torch, what's Voight, does Voight have a first name that we want to, no, I think he just, although Rorik can't see this, he just squints at him and he's like, look, my lord, you didn't tell us about these mercenaries. They gutted half a dozen of my men. You're in this too deep now. What do you think they do? What do you think they'll do to you when they know that you're behind this kidnapping of another noble, nonetheless? This isn't some random random worker got, you know, let's see, what does he say? Random what? Random, I don't know, hobo, because that's not the real word. A random urchin off the street. This is a noble woman that you messing with. We didn't know she was going to hire mercenaries. You said nothing about mercenaries. You said this would be an easy job. You're in this too deep. You'll hang with us. So I said that this might end in violence, right? So does it end in, does it start to escalate? That's going to be a 50-50 yes or no. 1 to 6 is no. 7 to 12 is a yes. Yes, absolutely flippin' yes, it does. Who starts the violence? Does it's probably Torch and his lackey, because they have the 2 to 1. You know, I don't know that Voight would be super, although maybe he is. So we're going to say, so let's say that 9, 10, 11, 12, it's Voight. So we'll give him a 9 and 12 chance that he starts it. And then we'll have to decide sort of why and how, right? On 8. Ooh, just not. Just not. So Voight goes, Voight returns back. Oh no, I'm not in this like you are. See, I've covered my tracks, and who do you think the authorities are going to believe? Me or you? When it comes down to a just a battle of words in a court. You were just doing a couple shipping jobs on the side for me. It's not my fault that you decided to, you know, overstep, see some quick money with the drunken young Lord Zachary on the street and take advantage. That's not my problem. So your association with me will mean nothing. So he goes that route, right? And I think Voight is smart enough and confident enough that Torch buys it, right? Gets a little nervy, and he steps forward, and you hear the sort of metal shing of like maybe a rapier or a dueling sword or something being drawn. You know, Torch goes, "Why you?" And you hear shing, and he goes, you know, "Oh, I would be careful if I were you." And that's Voight, right? He's pulled a weapon. And then Barnabas, because of course it's Barnabas. "Hey, I thought you sent the servants downstairs," as he's looking down. That gets everyone's attention. And I think, so Rorik is going to, I'm going to give him another sneak, but this is just literally against maybe a DL of 8 or 10, let's say 8, just to, what do I want to say, realize the jig is up. He doesn't. Oh my God. I mean, we're going to roll that again. This is crazy talk. Like, this is his rolls have been just awful. Yay, we succeeded at one. I mean, it took us forever. It took us all of our inspiration. Now I know how Scott feels in half the games. He gets a sneak. He got one from before, but not this time. So he can hear Barnabas and realize that he has cast a shadow into the room under the door. And so what is he going to do? I'm going to roll traps for him. See if he a little, maybe little bit of inspiration here. -3. He's not going to succeed at anything tonight. No, that's a 7. So I was thinking maybe he could not trap the door, since that would take, a while, but quickly put the oil lamp, at the base of the door. So as soon as they, open the door, they would, knock the lamp over, that kind of thing. And it would probably surprise them a moment. But I do think, unfortunately, I think he might indeed, does he knock the lamp over on the way out just to not be caught? So, well, hold on. Give me 1 second. He has a couple options. I don't know that any of them are great. He could charge in and say, and just claim that he's here to kill Torch, right? Voight, almost act like Lord Voight is in on it. That would likely cause Torch to, not only fight him, but look to harm Lord Voight as well. But that almost certainly ends with him getting caught and captured, or questioned. So I don't think he's going to do that. I think he's going to run. It really just comes down to whether he tosses the lamp or not. That is a bit of a dick move to burn someone's house. They'd probably be able to deal with the fire, but there would be a chance that it would go bad for them. And then the question is, does he use the lift? Probably not. It's probably too slow. He probably has to make a leap out the window, which is only a story up, so it's not like he's going to kill himself or whatever, but he might get hurt. And he's going to have to run off into the night fairly quickly. So lamp or no lamp, I think on a 1 to 6, no lamp. 7 to 12, lamp. 12, yep, he just sees it. He just knocks it down to the floor, starts the fire. So these guys come bursting out. You there, stop, right? So they're making some noise, which sort of sucks, but Voight probably doesn't want them to make a ton of noise. But he can explain it now, especially because there's a fire. But they probably won't pursue, because they're probably preoccupied with fire. Is there any pursuit? I'm going to say on a 1 or 2, there'll be pursuit. Someone will go downstairs. No, they're worried about the fire. And so Rorik is going to charge and jump out the second story. He's going to use athlete. I think it's, do you take a die or do you take 2 dice? Pretty much. We'll make this a DL12. He makes a skill roll. He does succeed at that, at least. And so he's only going to take a minor bit of damage hitting the ground. Let's do a D6. And he gets a 2, which isn't that really big a deal. And he's going to run off and disappear into the night. The problem is the mission's a little bit of a failure, because you didn't really get any definitive evidence. You know what's going on, or at least have an idea, but you got really no evidence, which is too bad. Obviously, the fire is going to cut the party short, and guests are going to be ushered out, and the city, all the servants and the the captain of the guard head up, to assist and, bring the barrels, bring some of the wine, right? Because, and so on and so forth, and they will douse the fire. Well, let's see. So here's the question: on a 1 or 2, let's say it does some damage, or let's do this on anything but a 10, 11, or 12. The damage is just wholly superficial. Some burns on the rug. They can almost stamp it out or pull down a curtain or a bed sheet and put this fire out. On a 10, 11, or 12, it does some damage, a fair bit of damage, a whole heck of a lot of damage. A 4, it does only superficial damage. And so Rorik escapes into the night. The rest of the gang goes home, it seems, goes back to the Laurel residence. And they have some new information, but that's left a little unresolved and maybe a little bit unsatisfactorily resolved. And so we have to think about, what does everyone, what happens that the late night, Lady Laurel and Zachary and Martin Wren, Tiny's probably there also. He couldn't sleep. And Rorik comes back, and they're all sort of waiting. And I think there's a palpable disappointment when Rorik comes back with his information, that he didn't get any real evidence or anything. But the question is sort of, what do they do with that information? So we know that Voight did plan the kidnapping. We know that the two argued. Voight wanted sort of out, right, of their arrangement. He wants to end their relationship and pay or reduce some. So we didn't get to that part of the discussion, but presumably he was trying to undercut what they had originally agreed on. Perhaps Torch was here to get his money, I assume. Voight was going to underpay and then say, look, no more, I don't want to deal with you anymore, we're done. But that really didn't have a chance to happen. So we don't know what their situation is or their relationship. So let's take a moment just to think about how that resolves on their end. This has nothing to do with the PCs. I'm going to pause and I'm going to take 10 minutes here, grab a cup of coffee and think. And I'm going to come back and we're going to make maybe just a mini table of, so what happens, right? Because I can see a couple ways that this goes. So I'll be back. You stay put. Well, you won't know. This is a theory of relativity in action here. It's all relative to you. So I'll be honest, I did not come up with much. I came up with a little bit. So it really comes down to two things. Does Torch try to screw over Voight? Does Voight try to screw over Torch? Do they take this as some weird opportunity to dink with one another? I think Torch screwing over Voight would probably come at violence, essentially. And I don't think there's a big chance of that. I think maybe that's a 1 in 12. I really do, because I don't think Torch has the upper hand here. I think he knows that the captain of the guard's downstairs. He knows people are going to rush up here to the fire. So it's not like he can. The only thing he can do is pin it on the guy who jumped out the window, because of course the window is broken. Someone did run out. They called out. So you could pin it on, oh no, poor Lord Voight got stabbed, but you'd have to kill him, right? Because otherwise he can tell them that it was you. Or intimidate him otherwise. So let's, we'll roll 1 in 12. Then Torch makes a move on Voight. Okay. 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 Sure. Sure. So in the chaos, right? So there's a fire. Hey, you stop. And they yell, and Rorik leaps out the window, right? Torch, Voight turns to run downstairs and call for help. And I think Torch grabs him and says, "No one backs out on a deal with me, pal." And shanks him. Right? I think he stabs him. Does he kill it? So Torch is a pretty big man. He's a pretty strong man. I'm going to say that whatever he stabs the Lord with is something like a D10, like D10 muscle plus a D6 right in the gut. He's going to do 8 for sure. He's going to wound him for certain, right? Oh man, excuse me. I choking on just the tiniest bit of coffee in the back of my throat here. So he's going to wound him, but it's not going to be like he. So it's really a question of how far does he go. So we're just going to roll. So give me 1 second. So what we're going to do is I won't worry about the. I mean, he stabs him right. He could have just outright gutted him right there, but it just comes down to does he get another shot in? Because Voight is shocked, so he's not going to make any noise. So he's either going to finish him off, or he finishes him off, or he intimidates him. So, well, this is odd. I don't know where this is going here. So let's say, does he finish him off? I'm going to yes or no this. 7 or up, yes. Let's say 8 or up, yes, because 8 or above, because it doesn't do him a lot of good to finish him. He does. So he yells, right? He's going to yell, right? He yells down, "Help! Help! The Lord's been stabbed!" Right? And his story is going to be that this guy came in. Luckily they were close, luckily they were close by. They all saw them go up. But this dude came, ambushed, or came in, assassinated the Lord, stabbed him twice before anybody could do anything, threw the lamp down to burn tried to burn the place down, and then left. They tried to get him. And that's sort of the story. Does he, in the chaos, do he and or Barnabas try to loot something out of the place? Let's say 5 or above is a yes. So it looks like Voight is dead. I did not go there. I didn't start here. Let me tell you, I did not start here. I suppose I wrote this meeting could end in violence. So I suppose I knew that could happen. We're going to do episode 28. So yeah, so Rorik heads upstairs. So Rorik heads upstairs to listen. Voight is going to underpay Torch and back out of the agreement because the press gangers have failed. Torch tries to threaten Voight. Voight draws steel on him, but then Barnabas sees, notices Rorik. They rush out to catch him. Rorik knocks the lamp down to cover his escape. In the chaos with the fire, because it's an oil fire, it's pretty big, right? It's a lamp fire, probably crawling up the walls and burning the table and the rugs and so on. Right? Torch grabs Voight, stabs him in the gut 2 times, 1, 2, real quick. Voight bleeds out. He yells that Rorik, effectively, although no one knows that Rorik was the one up there, murdered Lord Voight. And then he sends Barnabas, as people wander in and out, they grab something out of Voight's office. What the heck is it? Don't know. And the group probably doesn't know of what happened either. They just know that Voight's trying to back out. And, Torch was threatening him and so on, but that's all they know. So they're going to get sort of a rude awakening when indeed the next morning comes, or indeed that night, the city guard comes by and asks if they have seen anything or whatever, because, there was a dark-clad assassin who ran this direction from Voight's vineyard after stabbing him to death. And so I think that's the morning that they wake up to, or the evening. So it probably happens in the night. The guardsmen come by late at night. Are you safe, madam? Right? That kind of thing. There was a assassin clad in dark leathers. It's like, oh no, we haven't seen anything, and no one's come by here, and right, blah blah blah. And they go, well, they killed Lord Voight, and there you go. I think that's it. I don't know. I don't know. What do you do with that? What does the group do with that? I don't know if there's any action to take right away. Obviously, Rorik's going to tell them he didn't kill him, and I think they believe him. I don't think that's even in question. But I think the authorities might have something to say about that. And as far as they know, Torch is just a, dock workers. He's a leader of this dock workers, union, quote unquote. So, he has the tiniest bit of clout, more than some random mercenary adventurer, though. Although Rorik knows a lot of the cops because he carouses with them, so maybe that flies. So I think he would have a fair shot if they did try to just pin it on him specifically. What does Lady Laurel do with this with this new with this piece of knowledge, or in this? So I think we're going to leave it at that. I think we have to take a moment, sit down, figure out what parts everyone has to play in this, and then figure out the end. So I'm going to thank you all for listening very much, and I hope you enjoyed that. Didn't go the way I expected it to at all. I expected we'd have a giant combat as they tried to burn down Laurel Vineyard. But instead, we have Voight dead in a pool of blood up in his on his second floor. So that was it. This is episode 28. Thanks a lot, guys. We will see you here in a couple days. We're going to try to get the next one out very soon. Thank you.